But when it comes to the profiles and the incarnation crosses, the left angle crosses are strictly with the higher number first, the 5-1, 5-2, 6-2, 6-3. And what those mean are those are transpersonal crosses. And I'll say this again, you'll hear this a lot today. The transpersonal destiny, meaning that they are going to experience life and their lessons and things that they're here to learn is through others and their interactions with others. Human design reveals who you are energetically and who you came here to be. I'm Dana, human design specialist.
And I'm Haley, the human design newbie. Listen in as we explore how leaning into your authentic self is your ultimate path to success. Welcome to the Human Design High podcast. Let's get into it.
Well, hey there, Haley. How you doing?
Hi. I'm good. That's my go-to response to anyone that asks me, how are you doing? It's always good.
I'm good. No matter what.
It's always good.
Well, that's good. You know, it should be, because some people say, let me tell you. And you're like, I didn't really want to know.
You're like, this is just a standard greeting. Don't give me your life story.
Don't read too much into it. No, but it's good to see you again. We're probably just going to get right into this today with what we're finishing up our series here on the profiles.
Our 3-parter.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think this is third. Yeah, this is the third. It's a lot. We're taking it easy on you to not have to listen to all 12 of them at once, but
that'd be so much.
Yeah, it is. Well, there's a lot to cover, but it's fun. I think the profiles, a lot of people really enjoy looking at the profiles, and with talking about them here, I've been contemplating more about them, and I've been just watching people in my environment that I come in contact with every day, and you start to wonder because you don't know everybody's, but you can start to see certain traits. But it did have me go back looking through people that I know in particular, because we are ending today with the left angle crosses. There's just 4 of them. The 5-1, 5-2, 6-2, 6-3. And the 5-2, I don't really know that many. I don't think I know any. I know one, but not really in contact with that person anymore. But definitely I could see a lot of the profile there. So it's very interesting to look at people's profile, and then people who are the same profile but maybe different types, to see how they express it, sometimes a little bit differently, but not really. But I think profile really is one of those pretty solid, not solid, like across the board, there is certain traits for
consistent.
Sure. Like, yeah, especially looking at like that line 2 or the line 1, really. The first 3, the 1, 2, 3 are, I think, easier to see in people. Like, there are the people like me who really like to research things with the line 1. Like, I can't.
Well, I mean, that makes sense, because those are the ones that are very like the personal, the individual lines, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then people that are line 2s, it's pretty, it becomes really interesting to watch, because like I said, I'm always looking at you and a friend of mine who, you're 25, but I think she's 60 now. And you're both projectors, but all, so there is this certain quality to both of you, which we're going to talk about with the 6-2, but that line 2 in particular.
We are both also 6-2s. You didn't say that.
I didn't say that. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I thought I led with that. I'm sorry.
No.
I led with your ages.
Yes.
Yeah, it is interesting to look at. And then I don't think we mentioned it this last episode, but I think we've mentioned it before, that with the rarity of the 4-1, it was interesting to find that my sister is a 4-1. There's just the 2 of us. And what was really interesting when I looked at our birth dates and times is how precise that had to be for us to both, because we were born 4 years and 7 months to the day apart. We were both born on the 20th of the month. She was April, me and November. And it's just interesting. I wonder, I'm pondering that quite a bit right now. Like, why are both of us 4 1s? It's just a really interesting when you think about the cosmic puzzle and all of us having the part to play and what we're here to do. And I would have, I don't know that I would always say that my sister and I are a lot alike, but I guess we are in certain ways. But I start remembering little things now, the similarities of like her always. I think she jumps the gun on me most of the times at looking stuff up on her phone.
Yeah. Yeah. She always is looking things up on her phone.
And she's always, she does do a lot of research before she plans things, does things. What's so different is, I mean, we're both generators, but what's so different is just like the different gates and channels and incarnation cross and everything that we have is all different. So it expresses differently, but I would say it's fun to look at for sure. So with that being said, we're going to finish up with the last 5, the left angle crosses. Did I say 5?
You said 5.
Because I'm looking at 5, 1. And so the left angle cross, so these are going to be the ones that, well, obviously they would be normally the upper trigram is 4, 5, 6, but when it comes to the profiles and the incarnation crosses, the left angle crosses are strictly with the higher number first, the 5, 1, 5, 2, 6, 2, 6, 3. And what those mean are those are transpersonal crosses. And I'll say this again, you'll hear this a lot today. The transpersonal destiny, meaning that they are going to experience life and their lessons and things that they're here to learn is through others and their interactions with others, not necessarily in relationship, but just through meeting others, which we'll talk about that in a minute. So when this we'll just, I guess, get into it. I don't know how much more I have to explain about that.
Do you know why it's left angle and right angle? Do you know that?
That is like calculation stuff with the mandala, the whole human design mandala, and the way things are.
Okay.
In the original delivery, no, I don't. Okay. I don't. I'll just say I don't know. Okay. When you ask me these questions offhand, I'm always like, I can find that answer, and I have looked at for what does that mean, and maybe somebody's listening right now going, "You idiot! It means this," but I never really felt it was that necessary to really know that answer because I don't have to do the calculations. Any program will do it for you. It'll tell you if it's a left angle, right angle, or juxtaposition. Okay. But it will be easy to remember that, when you look at someone's profile, and if you are learning this and you want to like work with this information as far as maybe it's in your job, like you're a coach or therapist or something, or just working with your family and you're looking up people that like I said, any program is going to tell you what the person's incarnation cross is. It'll tell you. And it'll say RAX or LAX or JX for right angle, left angle. But also, if you just knew someone's profile, you'd know if it starts with a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or 4, or 4, 6, one of them. It's going to be that right angle, personal destiny. 4, 1 is the only one juxtaposition. And then the ones that begin with 5 and 6 are your left angle crosses. Okay. So the 5, 1. The 5-1 is called the Heretic Investigator, also the Visionary Leader / Resource. Okay. So, like I said, this is a transpersonal profile, meaning a lot of their lessons, interactions, things they're here to learn, even like more karmic relationships, like things we're destined to meet, interactions with others, or how you're going to really fulfill your personal destiny, basically fulfill your destiny. So the 5-1 the line 5 we talked about a little bit before with the other profiles has they call it projection field around it. Do you remember that? Where that's where the heretic part comes in. And so the line 5, they always say, they kind of see it as the highest line on the hexagram as far as highest expression, like of the the theme of the gate. Let me put it this way. The line 5 has the highest universalizing potential. So what that means by that is what they bring and who they are, what they do has the most potential to impact the most people, universalizing. It's like they call it a visionary leader type, the line 5, because they are here to offer new solutions, usually very practical solutions to the rest of us. It's not just people within their family. Things they can come up with can impact the whole world.
What was it that it was like something about, it was a phrase you used in the last episode about the line 5, about like their interactions with like random
Strangers
people.
of consequence.
Yeah, that one. I can't not remember it anytime.
Yeah.
Strangers of consequence.
Yeah, that's who they're here to impact, meaning that no interaction is too small with a line 5. Like this could be someone could say something just totally off to someone they meet in the grocery store, or it's like they don't actually have to meet sometimes the people that they impact. What they do impacts all of us. Okay. So the 5-1 in particular is here to offer these practical solutions really through the knowledge that they have. Okay. So some famous 5-1s, as we said, this will help you think about these people as we're talking. Madonna is a 5-1. But I want you to remember when I talk about these ones in particular, the 5-1, the 5-2, I think it's more noticeable. This heretic part of it, the projection part of it, that if these people don't live up to what we think they should be, or the people around them, you don't think they're doing what we think they should be doing, or what kind of solution they should be bringing us, we tend to turn on them a bit. I mean, you can certainly see that with Madonna. You love her, you hate it, right? You know, Reese Witherspoon is a 5-1. Ra Uru himself was a 5-1.
Okay, Ra.
Which we can all see that. There's definite, like, he brought the knowledge, but then
I think that's why the Voice picked him. Right? Isn't that what it was called? The Voice?
The Voice, yeah. Tina Turner, Neil Armstrong.
Okay.
Queen Elizabeth II, and Martin Luther King Jr. Reverend Martin Luther King.
Very powerful people.
Who impacted a lot of people.
A lot, yeah.
So the 5-1 takes the knowledge that they have gained and used, they've done their research. This is what drives them, because it's that unconscious side of them that's really driving them, is that need for safety through information. More information they have, the more they feel. But then the knowledge and everything that they gain is here to bring those practical solutions that benefit all of humanity. And so this is a very powerful and potent combo, is this 5-1, because this almost insatiable thirst for knowledge mixed with the drive and the ability to help save the world through innovative thoughts and solutions is a really impactful person.
Yeah,
for sure. They say that the aura of a line 5 is rather seductive, they call it. Which, when you first read that, it's like when they always say the seductive things about a Scorpio or whatever. It's just like, okay, we're not. But they do, it's the seductive energy because people can feel from them.
You're just drawn to it.
You're drawn to it because
it feels good.
Well, it's more that they don't see, remember, they don't see the line 5 person.
Right.
They see their own reflection of what they need, right? And so sometimes what they think they need is not what they need. And that's what the 5-1 delivers. The 5-1 does deliver potentially what they need, but just they're either not ready for it, they don't want to hear it. And so, yes, it does draw them in because the people sense that the 5-1 in particular has the information that they need, right? And so the 5-1 has to be very discerning about who they can help and who they can't. And it's also very important for line 5s in general to really have a good understanding of themselves. And so that when they, especially in the personal relationships, if they since there is this projection field around them, it can be tricky in their personal relationships that people might project their shit onto them and really think it is the 5-1 that is doing things, that is the problem and is the blame. And depending on the relationship, if you know you're never going to change this, you might want to be like, okay, I either have to just accept this person like it's your mother or something, it's just like, or you have to decide if this is a relationship worth salvaging that you want to keep. You might have to walk away from it, because some people will take what they can from the 5-1, as far as, when I say take what they can, learn what they can. Some people just aren't ready. So one thing the 5-1 has to remember is that they have to make sure they give themselves that time to do their investigative work, to know their stuff, because their knowledge is so important to the work they bring into the world. Really just not even work, it's just what they bring into the world. Because if they don't have the right information, whatever it is that they are drawn to bring to the world, whatever fascinates them, whatever they're interested in, if they don't have it, they don't have the right information, then, like we said, that positive projection that they're feeling from people, because projection can be positive or negative, meaning it's drawn to them, they feel it, and they're like, oh, you can help me. And like we said, if they don't have all the information they need, the correct information they need, that can quickly flip on them, which can be rather harsh, difficult.
Right.
Line 5s in particular, but they're natural leaders. They're meant to bring new ideas, new solutions. Not always, may not be received in the best way. We talked about the stranger of consequence thing. They're here to influence the world, not necessarily like their immediate network. Right. So then maybe the things they know, the people in their family don't really care about and don't want to know, but maybe the world does. So what I was saying about that, having something that really interests them to really dive deep on is really important. And it may seem to them at first that this is just a personal interest for themselves to learn something, but ultimately what they're learning, it's not just meant for them, it's meant for all of us. So I'll give you an example of a person I know in particular, a friend of mine. And
that is a 5-1 or just a line 5?
This is a 5-1.
Okay.
My friend Leslie.
Love
and
her.
I love Leslie too. She's wonderful. Yeah, very drawn to her. But what I've seen with Leslie has, and I'd love to have her on one day because she's learned so much. She's a 5-1. She's got a lot of great information. And she had her own personal struggles, health struggles, things like this, autoimmune and things that were happening in her own personal life. And it led her for years down this path of trying to figure it out for herself and trying to get to the bottom. So she did tons of research, obviously. She's so well educated herself on all the things she needed to know about food and diet and just toxins in particular. Because that was a big problem. We met through that work through with Beauty Counter, learning about the toxic products and stuff. And what was interesting is that in her work, her job, this is a big part of the work that she does, is helping educate people on clean living. She's like an advocate for that because she's been through it herself, but she has seen firsthand that when she tried to offer this, plus she's a projector, when she tried to offer this information like to her family, people that really needed it, not her immediate family, but people in her family, not always received as well. It's like, for one, that projector thing, this is before she knew about human design. She knows now. She's like, oh, okay. She doesn't have to take it personally. She knows that this is not, she's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with her. She's just come to terms that some people aren't ready to hear what she has to say. But then the people who are incredibly impacted by her work. And I just love her to death. And she just knows so much.
She's so great. I love her.
Yeah. Okay. So we already discussed, this is the left angle cross, destiny fulfilled through interactions with others. And really important thing also for line fives is to know when to step in and help and when to retreat, because they're meant to step in, offer solutions, but not hang around too long. Because remember, these aren't like personal relationships. This is just like, this is what I got. Here's how I can help. And
Here
then
I'm out.
give them what they need. In this case, the information they need. And then pull out. Yep, that's right. So anyways, line fives tend to want to hide out a little bit though, because of this potential danger of being either misunderstood or their reputation suffering because people not being happy with what they offer for a solution. So they got to remember to also just, I don't know that say they have to remember, but just try not to hide out too much. The world needs them. We need your information. You've got to help. Promise the right people.
Hide.
The right people will listen. Okay, so that was the line five.
Okay. Well, 5-1.
You're right. That was the 5-1. Okay, so the 5-2. I bet you could tell me now what the 5-2's name is.
It is the heretic hermit, or in quantum, it is the visionary leader and responder.
I think you get a gold star. Good job, little one. Yes, so that's exactly right. So some themes here with the 5-2. So it's going to play out a little bit differently here with that hermit energy, as you can imagine. This is I think this is a more unique profile. This is the one that, like I said, I don't really know anybody personally. I went and looked. At least I said nobody I'm in contact with. So some of the themes there around the 5-2 is there is this heretic and hermit energy again. So they don't really like to feel pressured, which they may feel pressured because this is, again, that double projection field. If you remember, the
hermit has the projection field?
Yes, it's very attractive to people too. Because the hermit wants to hide away. Oh, because
you got to be drawn out. They got to be drawn out, but I remember that.
Yeah. And so this is going to play out a little bit differently in the 5-2, that hermit energy. We'll talk about that in a second. They can, since it is that unconscious energy, that line 2 in this one, it'd be challenging to know what's the right call to respond to for people calling them out. Very gifted, talented people, but they don't have, or they do have a hard time recognizing their own talents, obviously. And again, we talked about the impacting strangers of consequence, all that. So couple 5-2s, Justin Bieber. I know you're a big fan.
Okay. So big.
The Biebs. Robert De Niro. And do you know who Marlon Brando is? No. He's an actor.
The name?
He's very, very, very old. I think he was dead before you even
Marlon
Brando. Okay. He was one of those original, like, bad boy.
Oh, he was a Superman. He was in The Godfather.
Yeah, when he was old.
Apocalypse Now. A Streetcar Named Desire.
Oh, yeah, that was a big one. Yeah.
He died in 2004.
Yeah, that's why I said I guess he was still alive when you were born, but.
I was born before 2004. Okay.
I read somewhere, I heard it on a podcast once that said that Marlon Brando, like, never memorized a line, didn't even try. And it was just a mess trying to work with it. He was really good. People love working with him, but he just
how did he do a script then? Did he just make up the lines every time and then kinda, everyone else just had to follow, or
right before be like, oh, okay, he's a natural. He was a natural.
I guess.
And then here's a guy you've probably heard of before, Mark Zuckerberg.
I think I have heard of him before. Yeah, he does like some I don't know, social media or something
like that. I don't know. So the 5-2, these are very private individuals, as you can imagine.
Okay. They
kind of like to be left alone. There's this pull of like wanting to be left alone, but also knowing that they also get they have this feeling of being pulled forward, that they
Mm.
somehow need to help, but they don't have a clue, like really how they're going to do that. They just feel the pull, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so since they can't see it, don't know what it is, they, like I said, they tend to hide out and disengage, because what they have to offer is their own natural genius, whatever it is that is sought by others. And it's big stuff. It's usually like pretty innovative, world changing stuff. I mean, not every, I mean, I think actually, I do think we all change the world. Of course we all do. It's different after we leave it. We're all here.
Yeah.
But one thing that is different here with this profile is that the 5-2, I mean, the line 2 in general needs a lot of time alone, but this one in particular, because they're going to have to recognize their own gifts and talents themselves before they can start to bring it out so that others can draw it out of them. So where other line 2s can have the other people, draw it out of them without really them having to worry about it. People will spot what they have to offer. This, with that double projection field, people not really being able to see who they really are, they have to be able to understand what it is they have to offer, and then be brave enough to bring it into the world and let others see it. Because really what they're bringing probably hasn't been done that way before, or they see it different ways, because it's a natural, just their way of thinking or being that helps change us. So they're under a lot of pressure on themselves to have to figure out when and how to help. So it's a little challenging. I'm not going to lie. It's a challenging profile.
Yeah.
Yes. So following strategy and authority is really going to help that with all the profiles, all of us, obviously. But this will help make it a little bit easier to determine who to help and when, because that's the important part. Right call, right time. Okay. And it's because, not all the calls they're going to get are going to be the right ones. So when we say call, you know what I mean? Not people calling them on the phone, but people might say, oh,
It'd be much easier if it was.
I know. Wouldn't it? Hello, this is Destiny calling. It's time for you to come and fulfill. I knew it would come.
Be so much easier.
It'd be so much easier. We just all relax. Like, yeah. But according to the human design, it's kind of how it happens. If you're just paying attention, you'll know. Your body is going to tell you. So
you get the internal phone call.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, like I said, the line 5 is here to like get in, get out, deliver a solution, get out, maybe not hang around too long. So I think I like to use Mark Zuckerberg here for this instance, because we all know he created Facebook, right? Obviously.
Yes.
We all see what's happening right now with Facebook. He may be sticking around a little too long. But what you may not know, well, everybody does know this, I think, too, is that when he was in school in Harvard, Facebook was derived from him putting together a directory. He was great at coding. He had natural talents for coding, right? He was really good at it. And he created this directory for Harvard students in order to be able to connect with each other. However, that was his second creation. His first creation was called Face Smash. Do you remember what Face Smash was?
No, but it sounds bad.
It was. It was kind of like, it was really the seed of Facebook. It was the seeding idea, but he had to kind of try it out first. We're like, that was not good. So basically it was putting together, it was again a coding thing of pictures of girls at the school and people being able to vote, like if they were like pretty, if they were cool, they were hot, whatever you want to call it. Yes or no.
Oh, I like him even less now.
I know.
I didn't know that part. I knew that he created Facebook when he was in college or whatever, but I didn't know Face Smash. Gross.
Yeah,
Gross.
yeah. So he had that talent for coding and causing a stir. And the first iteration, not so good. But
No.
it wasn't necessarily the talent. It was leading to the next one, which was creating Facebook. And something I read here, it says that when Facebook launched on February 4th, I guess that was 2004, I think it was. I think it was 2004. It says within the first 24 hours, 1,200 to 1,500 of their fellow students signed up to be on Facebook, right? That was just the Harvard thing. Obviously, it was his Harvard directory. But then it grew really rapidly and to other Boston area schools and the rest of the Ivy League by the spring. And then by the end of the year, it had over 1 million users. And then
Good grief.
And then he obtained an angel investor that invested $500,000 in him. And he left Harvard to go run Facebook in California. So the rest is history. We know how that's going. What?
Sorry. I don't know. The way you said it made me laugh. I don't know why.
But he did. His natural ability of seeing something that new that needed to be brought forth was this way to connect people online, because the internet was still pretty new, right? And there were chat rooms and stuff like that. I don't really know. I had like very little children in 2004, like small, not very many, few. Had two. But you guys were small. I wasn't online that much, but I did hear of Facebook. You know who I first heard from Facebook was
Heard about Facebook?
What did I say?
Heard about Facebook from from Facebook.
Heard about Facebook was from Jackie. Remember Jackie and Vicky?
Oh.
So because they were college students in the UK, in Scotland, and they were over here working for us at the beach business. And when she went home, she said, "Oh, are you on Facebook? Let's stay connected." And I was like, "What's Facebook?" And she told me, it's like, "Oh, because they were like 18, 19. I was like, "Oh, this is what the kids are doing these days. Okay, I guess I'll create an account, because how else am I going to keep in touch with you? You live in Scotland, And so it was, it was like 2004. And because I think we went over there and visited them in 2005. Side note. Anyways, but it's certainly changed the world for good or bad.
Yeah.
I think both. I mean, there's
both.
the internet, the invention of the internet. But
Wild.
but then really Facebook really just changed the world.
I mean, that was pretty much like the first social media, right? I don't know when like MySpace came about or anything, if it was already there. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But it was at least like the first like real major.
Well,
I mean, MySpace was big, but it was big.
Well, I think what it was just the way it was done was so different. It was easier, it was like, I think Facebook was like the first, I don't know, but the feed thing, the endless scrolling of like, you never like have to like reload the page. Some of these other places, like these chat rooms and stuff, I think you might have to like go to another page or something. I mean, even Google, you get one page, you got to go to the next page. But I
never go past the first page of Google. It doesn't exist after that.
I mean, come on.
Oh.
But think about that. The endless scroll. Never running out of scroll. That.
I deleted my Facebook.
Certainly changed the world. Don't say that too loud. They might hear you. I'll find you. But so unfortunately, and I think a lot of people who work at Facebook tell you he might be hanging on too long. Now he's moved it into this metaverse stuff, or meta, not metaverse, meta. And I've heard many times a lot of people have said he should just release control. But all right. Okay. All right. So I think we've covered the 5-2. Anything else right now?
No, I think we're good on that one.
Okay. All right. So moving on to dun, dun, dun.
My favorite.
The 6-2. Woohoo. Oh, I didn't write. No, okay, so what is your name here? What are the names? You should know this one.
It is the role model and the hermit, or in quantum, the adept responder.
The adept responder. That sounds nice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So this is a line 6. So what we know about the line 6, going to have that triphasic life in stages. The 6-2 profile can come off somewhat detached, as we know, because there could be that hermitine side of it, but also line 6s are a little bit more detached because they are always looking at that long view. They can see things before others, or they just kind of have a knowing. They say they're somewhat old souls wise. One thing that's also interesting about the line 6, or the 6-2 in particular, but a lot of the line 6 is the energy here, is more of a tendency towards perfectionism, as in wanting things to be perfect.
Yep.
Combine that with an 1858. It's no wonder you have a tendency to get things, you want them just right.
Just a little bit.
But that's all right. We need that energy. Again, because of the hermitine, the line 2, the natural talents and gifts of the 6-2 needs to be called out from others. And another interesting aspect to the 6th line is they're always on this quest for a soulmate. Some lucky to meet them young, some maybe not so much, which will more likely in the next one we'll talk about the 6-3 might be a little more of a relationship experiencing, I should say. I know quite a few 6-2s personally. There's a lot of you out there. I know 3 in particular. Of course, one is you. One's my friend, Tora. And then I know another one, it's an acquaintance of mine. I know, actually, if I go back, I was looking through my list of people I've run charts. And I was like, oh, there's a lot. It's good. We need you guys. But some famous 6-2s.
Oh, yes.
I think 2 of the most famous, I would say, both Michelle and Barack Obama are 6-2s.
Love them.
Barack
We've talked
Obama,
about that, and I forget it every time.
Yeah, Barack Obama, 6-2 projector. So let that be a lesson to you, projectors. You do not have to wait till you're after 50 to do big things. I believe he was, he was already president. Yeah, he was elected president before he was 50. And so he answered the call.
When he became president. He's 47. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So different from the age of our 2 presidents after him.
Yeah, a little bit. Other 6-2s, Charles Dickens was a 6-2. Elton John.
All right.
Mahatma Gandhi. May have heard of him.
All right, Mahat.
And Jamie Lee Curtis, which I wanted to include her in there. You know who she is?
Yes.
Actress? Yes.
I just gotta, a lot of times I think I have the right person. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Well, right, I
thought it was really interesting to look at her because she is in this off the roof phase now. I mean, obviously, the people here that are still alive are off the roof because they're all over the age of 50. But Jamie Lee Curtis has certainly gone through lots of different changes in her life and the way she's her acting and everything else. But now she's totally known for being like this awesome example of a like fully authentic, realized woman and like unapologetically herself. And she's awesome. And that's what the 6-2 role model, well, that's what the line 6, the role model is here to do, is to live this journey through life so that ultimately they are the role model to the rest of us of what it means to live authentically as yourself, whatever that looks like. So the 6-2 is looking at that big picture of life, but you know, they're also hermitine, you know, being alone, helps them again tap into their innate gifts and talents. The more time they're able to spend alone can kind of, and this is where they can be seen as kind of reclusive and detached, is because they're not going to be the center of attention ever. They're not going to be demanding the attention. These are the observers, like to sit back, see what everybody else is doing. And even though in the early first part of the life of a line 6 up until 30, they are kind of living life like a line 3, meaning there will be more trial and error in like jobs, relationships, where they live, trying different things on. How many times you moved?
I think it's like 8.
Yeah. And those weren't all your choices, but you're like, sure, why not? Let's try it. And you're talking about moving again. So it's just like, we'll see what happens. You may have found your soulmate earlier, but you guys are still young. And
well, what was his? He's a 1-3, right?
Yeah, he's a 1-3. So he's a line 3. So he's up
so he's also
for a little trial and error. Let's see what works. And that's what you're supposed to do in those first 30 years of the life, is it that actually feeds your soul of just trying it. Because again, ultimately, you're going to use all that information of that lived experience later in life to step into that role model status. So then with the next phase for a line 6 in life is between 30 and 50, where they say they go up on the roof, which means not so much experimenting anymore. It's kind of okay, let's let the line 6 come forward more and live from a more observational approach. That's why they call it being up on the roof, of someone who's just observing life and seeing how others do it. But this is also
it's like a plateau. You just kind of chilling.
Well, it's like they start building a life, really. And if they have not found their soulmate partner, this might be a time when a line 6 is really spending that time looking for someone and hopefully finding them and building a life, family, jobs. I mean, like I said, look at Barack Obama, Michelle Obama. I think they were both after their 30s when they met, because did they meet in college? I can't remember. But
I think they met in college.
Yeah.
I feel like,
but then they certainly really, I mean, he didn't go like you can now. Apparently you can just say, I want to run for president. And you're like, oh, you want to be president? Okay. Which I'm just going to say, the founding fathers never said you had to hold office to be president, because really none of them ever had. So, because there wasn't an office. But
it was a different time then.
Much different, much smaller country then.
Much.
Okay. Anyways. All right. So they're gathering information about life more from a distance, and they're observing other people, see how they do life. They're just seeing how life is done, really. And they're just gaining wisdom as they go. And then after 50, after they're around the time of their Chiron return, is when they come down off the roof. Sometimes they get pushed off the roof. You might have to, especially a 6 too, because they want to just kind of stay up there where it's nice and quiet and calm. And they don't really want to draw that attention or anything. But there will come a time where what you have learned as a 6-2 becomes important to the rest of us. And you're here to share that with the rest of us, of what it means to be authentically you, so that the rest of us can also be brave enough to live as ourselves, because it's becoming more and more and more important, the importance of being an individual. And it's so funny because society for so long has said it's been so dangerous to have an individual perspective. Like, you can't do that. You have to do what the tribe does. You have to do what the collective says, because it's dangerous to have all these ideas out there. And it's interesting how it's shifting, because this is literally what we're going through right now in the whole world, is that we're seeing how important each individual is. And it's not a threat to the rest of us, because if we can see the value in every single individual, each one of us, and what we have to contribute, that only benefits the whole. It doesn't take anything away, because I think it makes us all stronger, because we're, and this is where I think female leadership comes into is a little bit more, what's the word? It's not, I don't want to use, not the word inclusive. It's, well,
Welcoming. It's more like you want to know what other people have to say and what they think and all of that.
yeah, well, that's what, yeah, okay. I just, as you were talking, I was able to come back to my brain. So, we've always lived from this hierarchical perspective of top down,
Mhm.
but we're moving towards more the synarchy, the sense of all of us being
Mhm.
able to know what's important and to value each other, and that puts us all on the same level playing field. But it's no wonder what we're going through right now is this huge um uh upheaval, not just in our country but a lot of the world, because right now also the planets where they're at is a huge amount of and then the big outer planets too, not just the inner planets, are in these gates of individual circuitry. Like I think right now,
Mm.
if you were to look at the transits for like today, like pretty much all the planets are moving through this individual circuitry, which is why there's such a push of like people wanting to have their voice heard, and there's a pushback from the tribe of like, oh, that's dangerous, so you can't do that, you have to just say what we
Mhm.
say, do what we do. Anyways, that was a sidebar there. Because the 6-2s, the line sixes and the 6-2s in particular, no, sorry, I don't want to say in particular, the 6-2s and all line sixes are here to give us all that strength and that courage to be ourselves, to be like, hey, it's okay, this is how you do it, you just do it, because you've seen it all, you've watched it all, you've learned from it, and you're always looking forward. As a 6-2, we know what you know where humanity needs to go in general. I mean, I would say so, you know. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like you can solve world peace today, but you have a feeling, you know, we got to do better, right?
Yeah.
So one thing I find with 6-2s that is particularly challenging, and I think you have spoken to this before, is feeling, and this is very much line 6 energy, feeling that you have a mission in life. Like line 6s feel like they have a mission and they have to fulfill it, and they feel like they have to figure it out now. And you're running out of time. I've got to get there, something, because I know you've
Mhm.
talked to me before about, I just don't know what I'm doing sometimes. Like I feel like I should be doing something more, but I don't know what that is. And that is like
100%.
100% 6-2 energy at your age in life, because you're still figuring it out. And like I said, with that too, you don't know. You are going to have to kind of spend time in your own process, and other people will recognize some of those strengths in you, what you're talented at, where your genius lies. I definitely know that we've had that conversation many times, and I have had to point out to you, also being a projector, what I see and what I think you're good
Mhm.
at. And
I rely on that a lot because I'm like, I don't have anything I can provide to people.
aw, stop it now.
But no, like that's honestly how I feel a lot of the times. I feel like I
Hmm.
don't have like I can't see in myself what kind of potential or skills I have.
Yeah, but you know, and I think a lot of times it is really, I'm thinking of like how I've seen it in other people express that are older than you. It is really this certain way of being able to do things or pick up on things or learn things are just so much, I don't want to say easier, but it is this innate quality that like the 6-2 thinks that everybody can do what they do, whatever it is, or however it is they're interested in, because it feels so natural to them. That's why it's hard for you to recognize that a lot of times, because you don't necessarily, I mean, would I put my finger on it right now? I wouldn't be able to necessarily put my finger on it, but I see certain things in you, like obviously know you've got a beautiful eye, creative eye. You do. You've never seen yourself that creative, but as you've gotten older, I hope you start to see that, recognize it, that you're visually a very creative person. The things I've seen
Hmm.
you produce, you like doing things, making things pretty, making
Hmm.
things neat. You know, you're great at photography. There's all these things that are emerging the more that you live life, so
Mhm.
just relax. You got a job. You got a job. You got a soulmate. It's like, hey, man, you got a couple years here to mess around, and you can happily go up on the roof and what are you gonna do from there? You'll figure it out. But it is hard. I've heard it a lot. Line sixes having that pressure of feeling like they should be doing more.
Mhm.
I see it all the time. But just be yourself, man. Just be yourself, man.
I do try to be myself. A lot of
Yeah.
times I am like, what
You.
you see is what you get.
Most of the time. I mean, I really 100% admire that about you because you do feel comfortable in that way. Not like that you shouldn't, but very rare thing for a girl your age, a woman your age. You are married now. To feel so and it may not be that you always feel confident in that, but you're not
Oh
going to
no.
change it. Yeah, you're like, I got to be me. Like, I can't be someone else,
Mm. Yeah.
And that is very powerful energy to people around you and will only grow as you get older. Because I don't know if you notice that, but it really does give people permission to be more themselves the more you can be yourself because they're like, oh man, look at her. She's doing it. I think it's admirable. Appreciate it.
Oh.
Oh, see? Oh, another thing with line six, trust is very, very important. Trust. Did I say that right?
There's
I
a little bit
realized
of an H there.
I did. I think it's trust. Yes. Trust is very important in relationships.
Mhm.
So that's just a side note. But I think trust is important in a relationship. But that's where I think that's where that perfection kind of thing comes in with the line 2 profile or line 6 profile is because again they're looking for in the relationships for that soulmate, so they think there's this perfect person for them and they're willing to wait for it. They'll find it, but so they might not they might pass people by sometimes because it might not be just the right combination of things, but just you don't have to worry about it. But maybe someone out there listening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically 6-2s don't spend too much time alone. You do need time alone, but also the world needs you too, so you're gonna have to come out now and then and
Gotta come out of the shell.
share what you know. Alrighty. Okay, so let's move on. 6-3.
6-3.
So as we get to a 6-3 and what we've learned, what would you say about a 6-3? Putting you on the spot.
Well, it was also kind of how the 3-6 was because the 6 is the triphasic, like you just said.
Mm-hmm,
So the first
mm-hmm.
part is the 3 energy.
Mm-hmm.
So then you got double 3. So then it's like real
mm-hmm.
trying things out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably an interesting one.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, there's going to be that triphasic, like you said, but it does play out a little bit differently if one is the conscious or the unconscious energy here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be wisdom that is gained over time through experimenting, trial and error. Like line 3 experimenting is like, and I don't know if we discussed it. I don't think we did because it's been a few days since we did the last little bit. Out of sight, out of mind for me. I don't remember what I said, so I don't know. The line 3 experimenting, trial and error, that's very much about the actual material world of life, of like really just manipulating things and trying things out. Yeah. Okay.
We talked about being in the clay. So like,
getting your hands dirty. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So this kind of energy, because that triphasic period, then, even though it's a line 6 is the conscious energy, this person is going to feel someone that is a little more detached, holding back from life, but they will earlier in their lives be more prone to be experimenting quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And this is also a very resilient profile because they are open to trying new things. They have this drive to always be learning through experimenting, but they also, I think, you think if that line 6, because like we said, this would be the role model martyr or the adept
Explorer.
So if you think about that adept explorer, this line 6 energy, they do kind of, you tell me that I do think that the line 6, I know, especially the 6 2 6 3, I don't know any 6 3s actually, personally, has that kind of, because they are sort of these old souls, a little bit wiser, detached, long view thinkers. They do tend to, I think, feel that they know certain things, and everybody's just not caught up with them yet, in a way. I'm trying to say that in a nice way that doesn't sound like they're like not egotistical, but like, what's the word? Full of themselves. It's not what I mean at all.
Yeah. I wasn't taking it like that. So.
Okay. Sorry. But this is like this combination here of this like wisdom and this just kind of knowing about life with recklessness. They can kind of, because they do like to shake things up, because that's the line 3 energy. And so there's still kind of this back and forth between getting in there and also wanting to like just be withdrawn a little bit and just observe. But so especially early in life, that first 30 years is going to be a lot of experimenting, especially in the relationships, because the line 3 in relationships, I don't think I said it before. It's pretty, what they say about line 3s in relationships is these bonds
and breaks and
broken
bonds.
And broken. Yeah.
You did talk about that.
Okay.
I got you.
Just take notes. I got you to take notes. Well, think about it. So with the line 6 looking for that soulmate, right? Like there's a big quest here for finding a soulmate and just in relationships. So in this particular profile, a lot of that experimenting in that first phase of life is really going to be around relationships, because they may not be as tolerant with that perfectionism streak to stick with it. Be like, oh, right. Nope, moving on. Nope, moving on. They might bond really quick because they might feel a lot, but then they're also like ready to move on, which will calm down a little bit the next phase of life. When they are up on the roof, they're going to spend more time witnessing, slowing down, observing. And the 3 of their personality is willing to kind of chill out too, because it can kind of feel the supportive energy of the line 6. It's like, I got you. Let's just we can calm down a minute. We can still get in there and figure out a few things, but we don't have to do it as much. We don't have to blow up our life every like 6 months. We can just relax a little bit. And then when they come off the roof, of course, integrating all that they've learned through observing and experimenting, and a 6 3 is still lifelong somebody that's going to be wanting to experiment, that unconscious drive of theirs to try it different, see what happens. But they will have a little bit more, as they mature, a little more discernment about what they need to experiment with, that maybe this isn't, broken, or maybe we can be a little more patient here. They still will try things, but with a little more tolerance. So because they are a line 3 personality, they need to understand that there aren't really mistakes, really. This is all learning, because they're here to, through their learning process of trialing and trialing and erroring, they will, is that right?
I think it's just in their process of trial and error.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think there's an ing.
Those are your gated correction. Like, no,
like that,
right?
That doesn't sound right.
My line 2 says, I'm kind of good with grammar sometimes. Spelling, not so much.
Oh. God, no.
Yeah, because it's really important for a 6-3 to kind of have this, since they are always going to be experimenting, they might worry about making mistakes. It might hold them back because they might have had some conditioning around that of, making mistakes. But as they get older, learning that they need to have more of an objective approach to things as far as what they're experimenting, not getting too attached to what the outcome might be as they try things in life, because they are here to just experiment and try and gain knowledge or experience wisdom from that. Because what they're then here to model to the rest of us, besides their true expression of who they are, is to also show us that we can get through our difficulties, we can take risks, and that getting through these things and taking risks is what makes us wise, makes all of us wise. And that's what the 6-3 does. They become wise through trying, taking risks. So anyways, that is 6-3.
Wait, we didn't talk about the famous people of 6-3.
We didn't?
No.
Well, there's not that many that I could find right off in my immediate search. I have 2. I could find more, but I just figured, these 2 might help. So
okay.
One of them is Matt Damon. And I don't know how much you know about his history, but he's
a movie
quite
star.
young when he got, but how he got in show business was he and Ben Affleck wrote Good Will Hunting, the movie.
Oh,
I mean, they
very
were
loud.
They were very young and never really. I don't know. I don't know this for sure.
I've seen that movie.
It's so good. You'd love it.
I think maybe I have. What is it? Because it's Robin Williams, correct?
Yes.
I think I've seen that one. What is the other one? The other really popular one where they're like, "Oh, Captain, my Captain."
That's Dead Poets Society.
Oh, okay, that one. I think I may have seen Good Will Hunting. Maybe, I don't know.
It's I believe Harvard. He's he's like the janitor, but he's like a savant when it comes to math. He's a math genius, and Robin Williams sees him
because Matt Damon is in it too, right?
Yeah, he plays Will.
Isn't he the janitor, the savant janitor?
Yeah, he's a kid. I think he goes to community college, because then in the I guess Harvard's in Boston. There's the rich kids, and then there's the kids that, the kids that go to Harvard, and then there's the kids who grew up there that are not rich kids and they don't go to Harvard, Ivy League school. So we're talking movie reviews now, but it's a really good movie.
I'm sure someone is interested.
Yes,
listener is interested.
Thank you, listener. It's a good movie. Hopefully you've seen it. If not, go check it out. But point was, he acted in it. They wrote it. He and Ben Affleck. I think, before he did that, he did lots of things. He was young. They won Academy Awards. They won Oscars for this, for the screenplay. I don't know if he ran it for the actor. He may have. And then as he's moved throughout his career, he's tried lots of different things too.
I feel like you don't hear about him as much anymore, though.
Shut your mouth. I think there's probably something he just came out with. I can't remember. I love Matt Damon. He's great. He's definitely tried lots of different roles. And then the other one, Steve Jobs.
Oh.
Steve Jobs. Yeah. He definitely tried lots of different things, shaking things up.
Matt Damon was born in 1970.
We the same age. What's his birth date?
October 8th.
We're almost exactly the same age. He's a month and a couple of days older than me. Twirling my hair. All right. Happy birthday, Matt Damon. You just recently turned 52. Yes,
Happy birthday.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm just getting to that part of the show where I just start rambling. I have delivered my content. But anyway, so yeah, that is the last of the 12 profiles.
The left angle.
Oh, yes, the left angle cross. Sorry. So they are
spelled
again
angle right that time.
Yeah. And I don't think, we said it at the beginning. We didn't say it specifically for the 6-2, but they also have left angle crosses. So they also are going to, the line 6 being the 6-2, 6-3, are going to have that transpersonal destiny, meaning that their destiny is fulfilled in this lifetime through their interactions with others.
Mm-hmm.
It can be people around them or at large, but
Mm-hmm.
it's that strangers of consequence thing of like each meeting in life. It's almost like they say it's karmic, meaning that it's almost destined that you're going to run into these people, whether they are people you spend a lot of time with or not. Like this was something that you are learning in this lifetime through those interactions. So I think we said that before, but just say it again because
I was just looking at the pairings because I like to know patterns of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you said it's a lot of math, but like there's no 1-6 or 6-1. That pairing doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Is there other ones?
And like I said, this is the astrology side. This is just how
3-4.
this is just how the sun moves through the gates. You know, it's just time and space, really, of how the profiles come about. Because that is the 1st question. Like, well, why isn't it just there's a 1-3, there's a 3-1, there's a 4-1, but there are ones that just aren't there because if you were to go all the way through the mandala, you would see it just doesn't happen.
I still want like a GIF or a video of it trans going through to see like how the interaction works. Hand motions.
Well, like I said, when they first started, it was quite a long time before anybody wrote the software to calculate these things. That's how it's how Raw originally did the charts and everything. They would just do 2 separate charts. They would have the red chart and then they'd have the black chart, right? Mm-hmm. And then you'd have to run them separately before you could. So I think he said even when he did it, when he had students do it, they would do the red side first, the unconscious side, plot all the planets through the gates and everything. And then, which really gave him a better understanding of that unconscious side to someone because you were learning about that first and then do the other side. And then they would bring them together into the composite chart of 2 of them together. So
so just like it's not really related, but it is a question.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not directly related to the profiles, but like in the terms of a gate or a line or whatever being in the conscious side versus the unconscious side, is one like stronger than the other? Like if it's in the conscious side versus the unconscious side?
No, it's not stronger than the other, but it is whether or not you yourself, if it's your chart you're talking about, your design, you might experience it stronger because whether it's conscious to you or not, because remember that black side, the personality side, is the side that feels more accessible to the individual. They feel it more because the other side, which represents the vehicle, which we talked about, the analogy of the passenger. Passenger is your conscious side, your passenger consciousness, they call it. The personality side of you is supposed to just kind of relax into your unconscious design. Let your unconscious, the body, because remember, a lot of this in human design is about trusting your body and understanding how it is you make decisions and how you feel things. So it's like, remember we said you take the vastness that is you as a soul, pick out the components of those 13 planetary placements, right? Those are just like pieces of the vastness that is you, is me, is all of us, because you're coded with, in this lifetime, right? Taking those conscious aspects of the vastness that you are, your personality in this lifetime, and it's being expressed through the characteristics on your unconscious side. There is no separation of the two. They are melded together because they are you. A lot of people want to look at just the red or just the black, but that's not how it works. It's just like, remember the red side was that point in time when the personality side dropped into this physical form
Right, because
and
the red
started.
side is the unconscious, the 3 months before the birth.
And that's when the neocortex
Roughly.
is fully formed. So that consciousness drops into the body at that point and starts to get used to its physical form and getting used to this body. They are linked.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that one is stronger than the other. It's just one you are more consciously aware of or might feel it more. And likewise with the other side, it means that you're not always, now it doesn't mean you'll always be in the dark about the red side, the unconscious side, because with age, you do, if you're willing to look at yourself and your behaviors and take responsibility for your own life and your own path and how you are going to choose to live your life and respond to life, those won't be as surprising to you, depending on where you are in life. You can see it, but then there's definitely, there's plenty there. They'd be like, oh, that explains why I didn't know. But because I think a lot of that stuff, even if it's unconscious, your soul knows, you deep down know this about yourself. Like I said, anybody that's ever had their design showed to them never goes, that is totally wrong. They might tell me that at first. No, I don't see that. I don't see that. I don't see that. But if they're honest with themselves and they sit with it and they let the chart basically speak to them,
right,
they start to recognize themselves. It's just been conditioned out of them to not see themselves that way. So that was a sidebar there, but relevant. And so I guess we will leave that there for today with wrapping up the profiles.
Little thought to nibble on.
All right. So appreciate y'all listening today. And I'm glad each time that you tune in to listen to us. We're always so appreciative to have you here. And we will catch you in the next episode.
Where can they find you?
Oh,
where can they find you?
Where can you find me?
Yeah, where can they find you?
Oh, I thought I already knew. Well,
we have new listeners.
There's always information in this show notes where you can get a copy of your own body graph on my website, humandesignhive.com. You can just look for the free body graph chart, I think, or there's just a link right there. And you can find me on Instagram. I haven't been putting a lot out over there, but I want to. I just forget. Sometimes I get so caught up in the research, I forget to put it out there.
You gotta let that line one settle down and move out.
It's gotta come on out. Or you can always email me, Dana@humandesignhive.com if you have any questions, or if you want to book a reading, you can do that on the website as well. And as always, you can find us here anytime you want. Just pop in your earbuds and we'll be here to entertain you and inform you as we go. At least one or the other. I hope at all times. It'll either be one or the other. Maybe both. Maybe it's both.
Sometimes both.
And sometimes why. Okay, can we go now, Haley?
Yes.
All right, let's go. Let's let listener go on with their day. And appreciate you. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
You made it all the way to the end of today's episode, so you must have liked what you heard. If you did, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and perhaps leave us a good review. And if you know someone who wants to dig into all things human design with us, make sure you share the Human Design Hive podcast with them. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Catch you in the next episode.